just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need to know. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accused.
Man, it turns out Diddy was acting even wilder than we thought. And Terrence Howard just dropped some serious bombshells. Everybody's been out here saying Diddy was chill and nothing like the media makes him seem, but Terrence ain't buying it for a second. Terrence straight up says Diddy allegedly made some moves on him and even tried to essay him. Yeah, you heard that right. And that's not even the half of it. Terrence also spilled some behind-the-scenes tea about the shady things that went down at one of those freaky parties Diddy is famous for.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man.
If you thought you already heard the worst of it, buckle up. It's about to get way crazier. Now, one thing about Terrence Howard, he's never been the type to bite his tongue when it comes to calling out the Hollywood game. He might not be as loud as Cat Williams or Jaguar Wright, but when he speaks, he drops real talk. Terrence has been exposing the way the industry tries to play games with black men, trying to tear down their masculinity. And guess what? It got so bad that he ended up straight up leaving Hollywood.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire.
Word is, his situation with Diddy was the final straw that pushed him to walk away for good. But hang on, we'll get into that heavy part in a minute. Way back, Terrence opened up about why he really dipped out on Hollywood. And no, it wasn't because he was tired or couldn't find gigs. Not even close. He said it was about how the industry kept trying to force him into roles and situations that made him feel like they were stripping him of his manhood. The second he stood up and said, nah, I'm not about that, everything changed. Suddenly, the same people who praised him were calling him difficult and hard to work with. Sound familiar? That's the industry's favorite move when somebody doesn't play their dirty little game. We've seen this play out way too many times. From Monique to Cat Williams and a whole lineup of celebs who refuse to bow down. Let's be real here. Ain't nobody saying Terrence Howard is squeaky clean. The man's been tangled up in drama plenty of times. For a minute, it felt like his personal mess was getting more shine than anything he ever did on the big screen. It was like he just couldn't stay out of the headlines. And trust, it wasn't for anything good. Back in 2010, he got hit with accusations of getting physical with his first wife, and the story exploded real quick. People were outraged, and it got ugly fast. But that wasn't even the end of it. Not even close. In 2011, his second wife, Michelle Gent, went to court for a restraining order, claiming DV. The court granted it, and that just threw even more gas on the fire. Folks everywhere started side-eyeing Terrence heavy, wondering what kind of man he really was behind closed doors. And here's the wildest part. Terrence didn't exactly come out swinging to deny it all either. He's actually talked about the mess openly in interviews, just putting it all out there like it was nothing. Like that one time he admitted, clear as day, that he slapped his second wife, and even said it happened right in front of their kid. In his own words, Terrence said, "She was talking to me real strong, and I lost my mind and slapped her in front of the kids." Crazy, right? What really makes you stop and think is that even with all these serious accusations flying around, Terrence's career barely skipped a beat. He kept landing roles like nothing ever happened, just sliding right back into the spotlight. Even after admitting to some of the claims, the man was still out here, snatching major gigs like it was business as usual. Terrence ended up snagging the role of Lucius Lyon on Empire. And man, that show blew up. It was one of the biggest things on TV while it ran. It's crazy how little heat he caught professionally, especially when you think about how serious those accusations against him were. So, when Terrence shocked everybody in December 2022 by announcing he was retiring from acting, people were straight up confused. The timing felt way off. He was still getting major roles, his fan base was loyal, and there wasn't any messy scandal or public drama that would explain him just dipping out like that. But if you listen to Terrence, he says there was a whole lot more mess going on behind closed doors. He claims the industry kept throwing him into setups that made him feel like his manhood was being chipped away piece by piece. And when he finally stood up and said, "I'm not doing this," Hollywood didn't waste 1 second freezing him out. According to him, they basically boxed him out and left him no choice but to walk away completely. Now here's the twist. That so-called retirement didn't stick for long. Terrence ended up sliding back into the spotlight, and this time he came back swinging. Ever since then, Terrence hasn't been shy about dragging the shady side of Hollywood. One thing he keeps hammering home is the insane pressure he says he felt to throw on dresses on camera. Not once, but several times they allegedly tried to push him into it. But Terrence says he stood firm every time and wasn't having it. He says these weird setups had nothing to do with the actual storylines. They were just random and felt like straight-up attempts to embarrass him or strip away his manhood. And according to Terrence, it was just one more way the industry tried to control him and others who dared to say no. It's plain and simple, and this ain't some new complaint either. For years, a bunch of black male actors and comedians have been speaking out loud about facing the same shady pressure, getting pushed by producers to throw on dresses for no real reason. Not because it fit the movie or the story, just to humiliate them. Dave Chappelle's been one of the loudest voices on this. He's been calling it out for years, saying straight up that he sees a pattern in Hollywood. A clear move to feminize black men by shoving them into roles where they gotta wear dresses or act in a way that just ain't them. Dave's been crystal clear that refusing to play along caused him real problems behind the scenes. We're talking about serious beef with some major players in the industry, and it definitely cost him a few big opportunities. Cat Williams backed up the same claims too. In his interview with Club Shay Shay, Cat didn't hold back, calling out the whole nasty game of trying to force black men into acting more feminine just to break them down. And guess what? Terrence didn't waste a second. He jumped online to back Cat up hard. And for the first time ever, Terrence let the world know the real reason he tried to walk away from Hollywood in the first place. Terrence broke it all the way down. He said, "My daddy taught me never take the vertebrae out of your back or the base out of your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raise men. Stay a man." Being a man comes with a curse because it's not a society made for men to flourish anymore. Everything is androgynous. He wasn't sugarcoating a thing. Terrence even pointed out how the most successful men these days are the ones being pushed to act soft and not stand strong. But trust, he didn't stop at just the dress issue. He took it even deeper. In another interview, Terrence went even harder, claiming there's a real agenda being pushed. A quiet but powerful movement to downgrade black men, strip them of their strength, and control how they're seen. According to him, strong, confident black men are looked at as threats by the industry, and there's a whole system designed to break that image down. Terrence said it loud and clear. The man has been demonized with the new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be able to be strong, but when it's black men, it's seen as a threat. And he didn't stop there. He said he refuses to remove a few chromosomes just to fit into somebody else's watered-down version of a story. Terrence made it clear they need to expand their stories to let men stay men while still showing love for the beauty of women too. So what's this got to do with Diddy? Well, based on what Terrence has been saying, Diddy might have been one of the main players out here pushing that agenda. Terrence hinted at some real shady things happening to black men at Diddy's wild parties, and it's sounding messy. Man, when Terrence started talking about those parties, that's when things really got dark. According to him, Diddy's so-called parties weren't just about music, drinks, and chilling. They were setups. Straight-up traps where black men were allegedly put in compromising situations on purpose. Terrence hinted that once you were inside those private rooms, things got wild, and not in a good way. He claimed that men were encouraged, or even pushed, to cross lines they wouldn't normally cross, all while powerful people watched from the sidelines. And it wasn't about fun, it was about control. According to Terrence, once they had that kind of dirt on you, you were stuck. They could use it to silence you, make you play by their rules, or kill your career if you ever stepped out of line. He didn't name names or drop full details, probably because the stuff he saw could shake the whole industry if it came out. But the way he talked about it, it was enough to leave people shook, realizing that the price of fame might be way higher and way dirtier than anybody ever thought. If what Terrence is saying is true, then Diddy's parties weren't just wild. They were straight up dangerous for anybody trying to protect their name, their power, and their soul. And it sure don't sound nice at all. But that's not even the worst of it. Because according to Terrence, things got real uncomfortable one time when Diddy supposedly invited him over, acting like he needed help with some acting stuff. But as soon as Terrence pulled up, the whole vibe flipped fast. Terrence claims Diddy allegedly started making moves on him, plain and simple. No confusion, no misunderstanding, and Terrence made it crystal clear he wasn't about to entertain any of that. He shut it down right on the spot. Man, every time we hear more about Diddy, the whole situation just gets shadier and shadier. Fans are out here sounding off too. One person said, "I couldn't imagine being duped into handing over my man card and all self-respect in one swift move." Another one commented, "I just don't understand how guys could go to that extreme for a little fame and fortune. I'd rather be broke monetarily than spiritually, every day of the week." Terrence is out here exposing what a lot of people are too scared to even whisper. Hollywood's dark side ain't just rumors. It's looking more and more like a whole machine of control and corruption. And with names like Diddy and Epstein floating around, not just as blackmailers, but some are even saying they were the big players behind Project Monarch. Man, it's getting crazy out here. But hey, I want to know what y'all think about all this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. Stay tuned. It's only getting wilder from here.